2020 finally coming to an end. I think it's probably one of the longest years that we've ever sort of endured, and a little thing called COVID-19 to sort of spoil the party. But I thought probably for my last video for 2020, I sort of talk about my reflections on the whole year, sort of some things that I observed, some of the things that I can look back into, and some of the things that we can look forward to into 2021 being the new year. So I've got some advice. I got three advices that I definitely think anybody that should take on board moving into 2021. So first advice, my very first advice, something that I've learned from 2020 that I'm going to take on board. The first thing is to take risks. And it can be any type of risk. It could be calculated. It could be, it really depends on how you define risk. 2020 for me has been a big risk. A lot of things have happened. Having leave Langport, move my whole entire life down to Melbourne in a new job and try to prosper a new career for me. And obviously, things sort of didn't go the way that it did. And then once COVID came, there was sort of really no choice but to sort of move back home. Obviously, I will sort of cover that in another video into 2021. But I usually think that it's really important that people are taking risks every day. And they have to be sort of calculated risks so that, we can sort of learn from, what we do when we do make these kind of risks. And some of the examples I can think of is that if you're a student who's just finished their high school studies, and this is just going back with my experience through TAFE, if you're a student that's sort of unsure about what I'm going to do in 2021, I thought about all these plans about doing a gap year, and I've thought about wanting to get into a university degree, but obviously my Taas score wasn't what I wanted. I always tell the Year 12 students is that always have a backup plan. Always, try and look for different options and take those challenges and take those risks that are there. And I think that sometimes we almost need to sort of calculate those risks. Where are the pros, where are the cons in those sort of scenarios? And I remember when I was visiting many of the high schools and doing the presentations and speaking to the Year 12 students when they came to me after the presentation. And one of the things that they really were concerned about is that they weren't sure about, is this really the path where I really want to go to? I really want to do this course, but then I'm sort of tossing whether this is something that's going to interest me in the future. And I think what really happens is that, with 2021, still with that level of uncertainty, you just got to have to start, making some moves. And whether these moves are going to be risky, they're going to be something that will either pay off, in the good end, or whether things aren't going to go the way that they are. And I think that we need to sort of really look into that more because, I think 2020 gave me an opportunity to take some risks, and obviously risks that, sort of didn't go towards my favor, and often trying to prepare for, those outcomes. So I think what I'm going to look into when I move into 2021 is that, really think about taking on, opportunities that are out there and just really keeping a set focus on what I really want to achieve. So whether it be looking for work, looking for projects like what I'm doing at the moment, I think that's really important is that people continue to take risks and to have a look and see what kind of chances. And, regardless of the outcome of those risks, don't let that sort of affect how you sort of move on, So always try to make sure that you keep a mind and a focus when it comes to taking risks. So advice number 2, this is something that I've learned when Conan O'Brien was hosting The Tonight Show years ago, and he was fired because obviously with low ratings, and I think the executives didn't like him. I don't know what the thing was around there. There was one thing that he said in his final show before he moved on to do his syndicate show on TBS, and he said that never allow cynicism to control who you are. Now, cynicism for many of you might be a bit of a big word, but we always kind of say, don't let the negative thoughts sort of impede on your decision making. And I say that because I know that when I've been keeping in touch with a lot of the students through my WhatsApp messages, out of courtesy, I just send a message, hey, how's it going? How's everything been? Often I get a reply within a couple of minutes. Usually some will be a couple of days or weeks, and others I don't get anything. I don't take offense to any of that. And I know that because there's definitely a couple of people who I've sent happy birthday messages or greeting messages, and you don't hear from them. They don't respond to you. They don't say anything to you, and then you kind of go to yourself, "Oh my God, there's this person don't like me anymore, or I'm clearly not in their picture." The reality is that it shouldn't be processing those negative thoughts. It's understanding where those friendships lie or those relationships lie in terms of how you bring out some positive energy or some sort of positive output into it. Because I know that there are people who I am really good friends with, and then they don't message me when I send them a message. But I know that they're very busy and that they've got, a completely different life, and they, I know that, and it's been discussed so many times. But it's sort of those processes of when you're thinking of it in a very negative way, it sort of sets the mood. And I think, with the whole thing with what I did with mental health, it was really important that we sort of build engagement through all those many connections and all those groups of friends that we've had over the past year or two that that I've known people. And even if there were people that I've met since 2015, for example, when I did this job at Langports, I think what's really important is that we can't allow, rejection or negativity shroud our judgment, and we can't let it affect the way that we run our lives. And I think that's really important, is that when we move into 2021, that we can't let the negativity affect how we pursue our goals. Currently I'm trying to look for work at the moment in the higher education industry, or in English language institutions at the moment. And obviously with border closures and everything, there hasn't been a lot of work. And I think for me, it's just about maintaining a focus and just making sure that I remain that level of positivity and trying to find that source of support, whether it be family, friends, close connections. So as I've said it in many videos, and something that I'm going to take on board is, if your friends don't reply you back, it's nothing to do with you, and just look at it into a more positive light instead of looking at it through a cynical sort of system. So really try not to let cynicism come into play with every sort of little matter that may happen. Always sort of think on the brighter side of things. Which leads me to my third and final advice for 2020, and something to reflect on, and one that is going to really resonate to many different people, and it's about being optimistic. Being hopeful that things are going to get better from here. I know with the situation that's happening in the US and in Europe at the moment is getting out of control, and watching with all the news about all these cases with COVID, it's like COVID has sort of played an entire factor into 2020. But I think we need to start becoming quite optimistic about how this vaccine is going to sort of make a difference, and obviously what is going to happen between now until we hit into 2021. I think most of us probably have to start living with the virus, which most countries have sort of accepted it. But in terms of our own welfare, our own well-being, I think what's really important is that we need to still remain as optimistic as possible. So if you're a Year 12 student that didn't get the right Taas score and wasn't sure about getting into university, or whether you couldn't get into TAFE, that there are still options for you out there to pursue any study options as well. It's not sort of the end all to be all. For me, for example, when I finished Year 12, I was meant to take up a scholarship with TAFE Queensland, and I declined it. I didn't think that I was ready for it. I decided to get into university, so I got a entry into university, and I did 4 changes. So I changed from what it was meant to be an IT course. I went from IT to multimedia, didn't like it, moved from multimedia to arts, and didn't like the name, so I went from arts to communications. Actually, there was, sort of 4 different options there. So, like I said, remaining optimistic, because you just don't know where the pathways are going to go. And I know that, people in the English language institutions are, really concerned about their future. Just know that those industries are going to pick up again, that there is hope, that there is going to be, students coming back to Australia anytime soon. And for anybody that's working in all the different industries, whether it be in the travel industry, the hospitality industry, which is picking up again, or those people that are living on borders that are having problems with people coming and going, just remember that, to remain optimistic, and that know that whatever pathway you decide, whether it's a good pathway or a bad pathway, that there is hope for what 2021 has to offer, and things are going to go back the way it's going to be back. It's just trying to get the right mindset, trying to find the right focus, and just hope that what we went through in 2020 won't happen in 2021, and if it does happen in 2021 or the near future, that we are better prepared for, not just for our sake, but also for whatever is happening into our lives as well. So it's just always making sure that you remain optimistic into the new year. In terms of what's going to happen with this channel, I'm going to try and be as proactive as I can. I do apologize for not being so proactive over the last couple of weeks, obviously due to, things that are happening with my, with some contract work and a few other little bits and pieces that's been happening. So I'm now president of my local badminton club and trying to get a little bit more active in that space as well. And of course, I'm in the process of editing a video for one of the interviews that I have conducted very soon as well. So I'm looking forward to posting that. But like I said, thank you so much for continuing to watching this channel. This channel is really dedicated to those of you that know me, whether you're all in that space of the education industry. So if you're somebody that's finished year 12 in 2020 and looking to do something into 2021, this is sort of the channel that we can discuss it. If you are an international student that went to a language school, didn't have to be at Langports, could be any language school in Australia or anywhere around the world, and want to know some of my own experiences, I really am looking forward to sharing, digging up some old archive videos and to sort of discuss what was my thought process in those kind of things as well. So I'm really looking forward to really building that. And of course, in and around January, I'm going to discuss about what happened when I left my role as the activities officer at Langports, which I know that a lot of people are sort of wondering what was my thought process, what was going through my mind in that whole entire month of that transition. And given the fact that it's going to be sort of a year since I made that decision to leave. So on that note, being the last video of 2020, I hope you guys all enjoyed the festive season over the last couple of days. Just remember to remain optimistic, remain positive, and always remind yourself to keep in contact with as many people as you can, no matter where they are. Even if you want to shoot me a message, feel free to do so, and make sure you click like and subscribe the button as well. So I really love for you to share this video to those of you that are looking for something optimistic and something to look forward to into 2021. I wish you all the best for the remaining last days of 2020, and no matter where you are, I look forward to putting more videos out into the new year, and hopefully for a bright and prosperous 2021. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I look forward to putting out another video again. Take care. See you later, guys.